Ready for some Google drama? Let's go. Now, this is not even about top AI personnel leaving Google, which even caused their stock to drop by 5% reportedly. But it's about a way more niche story, which I, as a developer, find pretty interesting. Justin Ponold, you may not know him, I didn't know him before, was fired 2 months ago by Google for creating the Google Workspace CLI. Now, what's the Google Workspace CLI, you're asking? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a CLI, a command line interface that allows you to interact with all those Google Workspace services like Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, Sheets, Docs, and many more. Why would you do that? Well, you probably wouldn't, but your AI agent maybe would, because we learned this year that AI agents, models are pretty good at using command line interfaces, command line tools, at least if they're well documented, because they're pretty good at using the command line in general. That is why Peter Steinberger, the creator of OpenClaw, of course, created his GOG CLI, which is a totally unofficial CLI for Google, for using Google services, last year already, so that OpenClaw can, for example, use that, so that you can set up your OpenClaw agent, and if you ask it to tell you which new emails you got, it can reach out to your Google Mail account, if you authenticated it, of course, and it can find those new emails. That is the idea. Now, kind of makes sense for Google to build an official thing, right? Because this GOG CLI by Peter is unofficial. It would make sense for Google to have its official one so that they have a bit more control over it. They can seem a bit more cool and maybe get a better stake in the entire agentic AI world. Because remember, the hype died down a bit now, but earlier this year, everybody wanted to get Peter, the creator of OpenClaw. Mark Zuckerberg wanted to acquire him or hire him. OpenAI did hire him. Google, I don't know if they tried, but yeah, this would be a small chance to move a small step forward into being a bit more engaged in that AI agent game here. So it makes sense that the Google team, where Justin worked, built such an official CLI. The problem just is that it isn't an official CLI. Right there on this official, not official GitHub repository page, which is part of an official GitHub repository organization or scope, but this specific repository there, despite being in the official Google GitHub or the official Google Workspace GitHub account, is not an officially supported Google product, as it says right there on the README of that repository. So again, repository scope or GitHub account is official. This repository is not. And Justin, who created it, was fired because of it. Now, as he mentioned in his post on X, which you also find below, of course, this repository, this tool, went viral, hit #1 on Hacker News, gained thousands of GitHub stars, and many thousands of actual users in just a couple of days. Why would you fire him then? If he built something people wanted and people then actually used and it was popular, why was he fired? Hold that thought. Now, it's not just him. Eddie Osmani, who was a top Googler for 14 years, also left. Now, he was maybe not fired. On LinkedIn, he shared a post that it's time to move on, find something new, the kind of stuff you write in situations like this. And I don't know, I don't have any special insights regarding his departure here. Maybe he really just wanted to leave. In this context that we have here with Justin and Eddie promoting that tool when it was released, which is what he did on X, it seems like maybe he was pushed to go. You know, the kind of stuff you do if you want to get rid of somebody, but he's been there forever, he is kind of popular out there in the community, and you want to make it a good deal for both sides. Well, then you offer someone to leave on their own terms before you make them leave on your terms. Maybe that is what happened here, maybe not, I don't know. It would make sense though, because Eddie did promote this not official, not really supported Google Workspace CLI. Now, as Justin wrote, he worked on the workspace DevRel, developer relations team, and they regularly created open source layers and abstractions over APIs. And he wrote this because there have been accusations or mentions that he clearly didn't go through the official process for getting your repository, in this case here, which you want to release to the public, signed off by legal. There is an interesting thread on Hacker News, you also find it linked below, which is super long. Now, I took the time to read through many of the comments there, and in there you'll find many ex-Googlers, at least people claiming to be ex-Googlers, obviously hard to validate, who write that it was pretty normal, that when you wanted to publish something like this, you had to go through a certain process, you had to get approval, and it seems like Justin didn't do that here. Now, again, as he wrote, that's kind of the thing they did. Maybe they always did it in the wrong way, but nobody cared until this came. And the question then still is, why does Google suddenly care here? And the simple answer here clearly is politics. It's enterprise politics, but there are multiple layers to it. Now, clearly, Google is an AI-first company. I mean, every company is AI-first these days, but of course, Google, yeah, it is a lot about AI. It's about the Gemini models. They shove AI into your face in every product they build, like Microsoft with GitHub Copilot. Gemini is everywhere. So why would they not support a tool like this, which makes using Google services easier for agents, for AI agents? Well, a couple of reasons. Now, one reason, not a good one, I think, is that Google actually did announce an official CLI, as it seems, though I wasn't able to find it. Maybe it's those Google Workspace Developer Tools, though, which I found, after Justin released the unofficial CLI. Now, those more official Google Workspace Developer Tools, for example, are about having a Gemini CLI extension for Google Workspace development. Now, I don't know anybody who uses the Gemini CLI, but yeah, there was this extension, or there is this extension. Though I guess that doesn't matter because Gemini CLI is not continued anymore, but anyways. So yeah, maybe Google was working on something official and then somebody else suddenly releasing something like this. Obviously not great, can definitely catch the team that was working on the official integration on the wrong foot. Now, another thing, another potential problem, of course, is if you used any Google products, and you certainly have, you can sometimes see that there clearly are very different teams pushing their stuff into the same product. I mean, take Gemini. It's in all those Google Workspace products, and it's clearly shoved into every single one of them. We have inconsistent user experiences. It's just flat out broken in some of them. It's clearly not in the interest of some team that's building the Gemini integration for Google Docs, let's say, that suddenly we have a CLI which makes agents use Docs and therefore people not visiting the Docs apps, which the team that built the Gemini integration, of course, want. They want real humans visiting the app so that they use the integration, so that they hit their numbers and stuff like that. So clearly, politics are the best explanation for this specific case here, in my opinion. Now, obviously, you can also ask, why do we care about this at all? I mean, some guy being fired by Google, who cares, right? It happens all the time. And yeah, that is, of course, kind of true. And especially Justin already got some nice offers here right below his post. So he will be fine. He'll find a job. I think it's just really interesting to see how Google is struggling with the current rapid development in the AI space, despite being one of the leading AI companies. Now, clearly, they are not really at the top of those companies when we talk about agentic coding, the OpenAI and Anthropic models, but also the brand new GLM 5.2 model are way better than the Gemini models for coding. And I don't know any developer who really uses the Gemini models for coding. And I have a hard time keeping up with all the tools Google is releasing that should help me with agentic coding. I mean, Gemini CLI is not continued anymore. We have anti-gravity. Who knows when they will stop continuing that. Anyways, they are clearly not at the top when it comes to agentic coding, but of course, the world is not just about agentic coding. And if we look at the consumer space, they're fine, at least for now. People still Google, and now they got ChatGPT integrated into Google. They can chat right there. They got the AI summaries. There is little incentive for normal people to switch and to use ChatGPT for research instead of Google, since it's all there. It's built into Google. So they'll be fine regarding that. The only area where these top researcher departures here could matter is that all these top AI companies are now racing to build systems that are self-improving, so to say. The idea, of course, is that if you have a top model that's really good at writing code, you can use it to also accelerate the development of the next, even better model. And you can also use it to build all kinds of tools around it that you can then sell to your customers, like Anthropic is doing it with Claude Tag, with Claude Cowork, with Claude Code, obviously, and all that stuff. So having a model that's great at agentic tasks, including coding, could be very important for the future, where this leads to like a self-accelerating upward spiral. And that is where Google could fall behind if their models are not as good at agentic tasks and coding. Obviously, always a bit hard to judge from the outside, but at least that is what it looks like, that it could be a potential problem for Google in the future. And with top personnel leaving, it seems as if development inside of Google is maybe a bit too slow for those people. They want to work at a company that feels more on the edge, in a bit more of a leading position. But these are, of course, just all speculations. Just as here with Justin being fired because of the Google Workspace CLI. Still, the main takeaway and why I find this interesting is that Google is in such a weird place. I mean, such a large company, obviously successful in so many different layers. And again, they will likely be fine. But then they mess up so bad here, where they could have been the cool guys again, where they could have potentially attracted some talent, where they could have been more involved in the entire AI agent dabbling that's happening at the forefront by all these early adopters right now. And they decided to not do that because politics. Anyways, I thought this was quite interesting here, which is why I wanted to share it. And as always, I'm of course very interested in hearing your thoughts on this and what I may be missing here.